A little over 4 years ago, I was researching shipping container buildings and came across a YouTube channel featuring a guy building a shipping container castle. I didn't know it at the time, but I would soon be on an educational journey. The more videos I watched, the more I started to realize this channel was way more than just building with shipping containers. It seemed that I had found a channel that piqued my interest no matter the subject. This guy seemed to be doing a lot of the things that I find fascinating. So not only were the videos entertaining, but I was also learning as I watched. Who is this guy that's having such a positive influence on my life? So I reached out to him with a request for an interview and to document what it would be like to meet someone who's had such an influential impact on my life. He accepted, and so began 2 years of planning, video chats, phone calls, lots of texts, COVID scares, flights booked, canceled, and rebooked, and rescheduling the trip itself 3 times. But over the course of those 2 years, a friendship happened, and I was about to meet in person, a true artist. Hey, good to see you, man.
You too.
Yeah, this is
That's it.
this is it. Oh, Levi.
Get a little mud in, but
Hey, buddy. How you doing? How you doing? Cody's like, I know exactly what that is.
yeah. What is this?
What do you think, huh? I know, I'm gonna get those open too.
You'd rather. What's that?
Yes! Okay, Levi, for you too. Let's get some cookies. This place is amazing, Andrew. Wow. Yeah, the videos don't do it justice when you see it in person.
Oh
It's
yeah?
just,
Does it feel different in person?
oh yeah, it's a lot bigger than it looks.
Really?
Yeah, like the whole,
I've heard other people say that.
yeah.
I guess I've never not seen it in person.
Right. What's this?
You have those treats.
Yeah. Okay, more treats. Enough playing. Enough playing. Yeah, this is crazy. Wow. Amazing. This is very similar to the way Alabama looks.
Is it?
Yeah, it looks the same. I think the rock may be a little different here.
Uh-huh.
Same colors, but I think y'all have more bluestone and stuff here, right?
Yeah, that would probably be considered bluestone, at least the stuff, the majority, the grayer stuff. And then once you get, like if you start digging as a geologist, you could probably start
Getting all
the
kinds of,
different layers, different stuff. But
yeah. Wow. Did you just paint that?
what's that?
That's not new paint, right? That's the
No,
old paint, right?
no, that was paint. What I mean, everything was painted last year around the fall.
Still looks good.
Yeah,
Wow.
the paint held up great this winter, which I was very relieved because that was an issue previous winter.
Cody? Right here. Look at this, Cody. You get it? You get it? get it.
It's pretty clean in here right now. That trailer just came out yesterday. I did the brakes and axles on that.
Oh, awesome.
That needs to come back in quickly though. I need to revisit something on that quick. But, yeah, the brakes are all done. It's got the surge brakes. You can't back the thing up because the brakes come on so hard.
Yeah.
So I got to add a valve to shut the brakes off when they.
Yeah, this is a lot larger in person, I feel like.
Really?
Yeah, on the videos, it always, you kind of have an idea how something's going to look, but when you get in here, it's a lot more impressive in person, just the size of it.
Yeah. Yes, I heated that up with a torch and bent it around it, welded it, and did this with the Lincoln MIG welder, and then, and it's the crisscross. I don't know. We've had like sword fights and stuff, but. Yeah. Oh, really? That's for me?
Yep.
Man, thank you very much.
So it's rough, but it's got a live blade, so it'll split firewood and hang it up on your wall, whatever, in the castle.
That is very cool. Thank you very much, Eric. I mean, that one's kind of nice.
Yeah,
too.
that's
that's
cool.
like actually blacksmith. Mine was just a piece of flat bar sharpened. This was like heated up and hammered and
That's
done
awesome.
kind of legitimately. There's Levi.
So did you do all of the work, like as far as like when you built like this area,
My neighbor helped with this.
like plumbing and stuff?
Yeah. Yeah, I had this one guy helping me with some of it, but I know how to do a lot of that. But I mean, my neighbor helped build, like, these are all, these were boards that I cut. These were trees I cut down and brought to the sawmill and had milled.
Wow.
And then we planed them, and then my neighbor and I built this.
Yeah,
I was
it's
going to
pretty.
cover this with stainless, but then I'm like, well, this plywood is actually pretty nice, so
Yeah.
I never did that. What I was going to do was like have it bent in the front and bent up the back as like a splash
Splash
plate,
guard,
and then-
right?
And then the same thing here, but then it was like, then I did that, and I was like, you know what, this wood, it was gonna be a lot of money, and I was like, this wood is pretty nice, so. He likes to lead the way.
Oh, wow.
This is kind of what I spent all last year working on, is closing this in.
Yeah, this is amazing.
I was gonna do more stuff to it, but after spending a solid year on it, I took a little break, but.
Yeah, you just need like a big suit of armor
Yeah.
sitting somewhere, you know? Gosh, that roof is so impressive.
Yeah, it's a strong roof.
Yeah, Andrew, this is going to be here long after we're gone.
It should be here hundreds of years, I hope. I don't know, should be.
I think it will. I
Yeah.
think you're right. So when you decided, when you first put the wood up there, what made you decide that wasn't going to work?
The steel just seemed to make a lot more sense. It was actually a lot cheaper to do the steel and a lot less labor, because the steel, you see, the beams are 4 foot on center. With the wood, I had to be 2 foot on center, and so that almost cuts the labor in half as far as just the amount of beams to deal with. And it was just so much easier to weld everything together.
How long did you have the wood up there before you knew that you were going to have to switch to metal?
It was a couple days, and then we kind of ran into an issue too with that we had the valley beams not exactly in the valley, and we were going to do that, and then Jesse and I realized that that was going to add a lot of labor and look stupid, so we made the decision to actually back up a little bit on the project and change the plans a little bit to fix it. So like when I laid these four floor planks down and they were in place, I realized it really needed the extra 4 feet, and I had to go get one more of them to give this space the, because imagine if this was here, you know, that would feel a little tighter. Having this extra 4 feet with the roof line like this really makes it. So when we have, well, these are 4 feet, so it's like 20 feet.
The span
Yeah,
creep.
yeah, it's a good dimension here. These things are awesome, these span creep things. They should be using these in so much, even in residential construction. This should be the first floor, a lot of residential houses. The labor, it's so easy to put it up. You just set it there for crane, it's done, fireproof, it's cheap, it's thin, looks clean on the bottom, doesn't need any center supports.
What is the limit for
Well, they'll engineer it however you want, depending on your project. So I've heard with 8-inch thick slabs, I've heard they can go over 30. So these are only 24. So that's, I mean, I've had one of these sitting on the ground, sitting on the ends like that, and taken the excavator bucket, pushed it down and lifted the whole machine off the ground to see how strong these were, and they didn't even move.
Wow.
So it's like, well, if it can hold, you know, half the, you know, the big one, the 100 excavator, so if it can hold, you know, half of that, it can hold nothing.
Yeah.
So, but they'll, I mean, if you're building something, they'll engineer them however they can go thicker with them. They can do the ribs in them if you're, you know, doing like bridges, like a huge span. The precast concrete products are amazing.
Wow. Yeah, the view is amazing up here. I guess you kind of always knew you were going to probably do something tall enough to give you the best view, though.
Yeah, I mean, there's a view anyway. I mean,
Good dog there.
yeah, Cody's a good boy.
You coming, Cody?
I usually shut this once. Hey, Cody, move your back so no one actually steps in the hole. This is the tower.
Oh, wow.
Kind of like the roof rusting like that.
Yeah, it's cool. It's got that industrial look.
Yeah, I don't think it's ever gonna be an issue where it's rusting through.
No.
I mean, I'll just keep keeping an eye on it, but I like the color of it. Kind of camouflages the building.
Yeah, it's neat.
Yeah.
Wow.
They rusted different depending on which way the plate was flipped.
Right?
I guess the fake ones can come out for the summer. I mean, these are all gonna have flowers soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, these have that. So yeah, I mean, those flowers came up quick. Yeah, I built this bar, built this whole wall, because there was a hot tub in this, and I didn't really like it. It kind of took up the whole thing, so it just felt a little crowded in here. Plus the hot tub didn't work, so I took it out and just set it up like this. I mean, one potential project I was thinking about doing this year was moving this somewhere else and then building more of the concrete roof and enclose this entire patio area, and then that way you'd be like inside a cave and make it cave themed.
Man.
I'd
Yeah.
like to do the the shotcrete or the gunite, and just make like stalactites, and then put like colored lights behind the stalactites so it feels like you're in a cave, and even do like a fireplace. I thought that would be a really cool project.
Yeah, that's neat.
And then I was thinking like move this somewhere. I'd almost like put it up on top somewhere crazy, but.
So what was the driving force behind starting the channel?
I just started putting videos on. All right. The best answer is there is really no answer. I just kind of started doing it for fun. Just I liked watching time lapse videos. So if you see my oldest videos, you see a lot of them are time lapse because it's a kind of a decent way to film some of these excavation and construction projects. So I just wanted to try my hand at it.
What is a project or task that you haven't filmed yet that you would love to film and turn into a video?
Well, usually a lot of the videos just come out of projects that need to be done out of necessity, so I don't always schedule or know what they are. Just whenever a project needs to be done, it happens. So, a good example is when things break, they need to be repaired. Or as construction projects go, I mean, I could do more to this building. I kind of want to do stuff to the hot tub over there. I want to move this gazebo, put it somewhere else, make this cave, like this whole thing will be in a cave. So when you're here, you're in a cave, but make it cool, like huge, like all the way to the end of the gazebo.
So why no sponsors or advertisements?
Why no sponsors? Because I don't want to turn these videos into commercials. So I know there are ads in the videos, but those aren't like permanently part of the video. That's just something that anyone could not watch those if they choose not to. The videos aren't supposed to be commercials. I mean, it is about, for the most part, the channel is about seeing equipment operate. I mean, because I've had offers for sponsors in the past, and they're very generous offers. I've seen 5-digit offers just for, like, hey, just throw an ad in the video. But like, I definitely wouldn't even like consider doing it if it's like the ad is for a product that's got nothing to do with the subject in the video. Now it kind of gets into a gray area, like if someone was giving me a piece of equipment or something. Come here, Cody. Come here. So it's like, well, that kind of makes sense because it's if the videos are about seeing equipment operate, to see a machine running, I could take stuff like that potentially, but.
Going on, but what if like Discovery Channel or somebody approached you?
I've had actually approaches like that before in the past. I mean, the problem with those shows is there's so many people involved with it. Even that reality TV show, when that was popular a few years ago on those big networks, a lot of that's not reality. It's scripted. It's scripted.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the whole point of YouTube is like I'm the only one doing it. It's me with a tripod, me editing,
and no one's telling you what to do.
There's no added scripted drama, which all of that stuff is on those shows. So that's people want to watch shows like that. They're on there. I mean, it's to me once you I mean, I remember watching, I don't want to name them, but watching shows like that in the past before, and like you could. Once you start picking up on scripted drama,
you'll see it every time.
It ruins the show. I remember watching something, and they were doing something, and they completely fabricated this problem. It's like it was like such a stupid thing that they had all these cameras set up around this one situation. Like, why you guys like that's so obvious that you guys faked this problem that it kind of ruins the show for me for the most part. So. I mean, but your question that you're going to ask me, like, what direction do you want to go with the channel?
Right.
the direction I want to keep stuff just the way it is. That's why it's me doing all the editing, me doing the filming.
And it's what your fans
Yeah,
enjoy.
that's what I want to keep doing with this channel forever.
Right.
That's I'm sure that's what everyone wants to hear, and that's what I want to do. That's the goal.
What has been your personal favorite project you filmed and posted to your channel?
Probably building this. This was. I wish I had started filming it from the very beginning.
Yeah.
But at least I got a lot of it filmed. So.
Yeah, I think when I started watching, the very first thing I ever saw that you did was setting them. Yeah, where you were putting the tower up and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think you already had the basic stuff
Yeah.
done, but you were putting the tower. That's where I came into it.
I mean, I had done that years before. I mean, there is a couple lazily filmed things of the. I mean, there's pictures of me setting the first 4 base containers.
Right.
And then there is like a quick time lapse partial shot of a crane here setting the Spancrete roof panels on the first level, which is essentially the floor of the third
And that was
floor.
before you had a crane too, right?
Yeah,
So,
I almost bought a crane to do because I got those Spancrete panels used from this guy, and that's where I got my Pettibone. My Pettibone was the crane that did, and he gave me a price on it there. I probably should have just bought it that day.
wow.
I'm like, well, I can hire a crane out, and I actually went back years later and bought it from him.
Wow.
I could have bought it in the beginning.
Yeah.
It was those big panels were a little bit much for it though, because they were I guess technically it could have done it, but they were the 8-foot wide by 25-foot long.
What's
so
the weight on those?
Those would have weighed 10,000 pounds.
Okay.
So I guess technically that crane could have set those. You would have had to set the crane. You would have had to position the crane so you're pretty close in to each lift. You'd almost want to. Actually, what I could have done was it could have done the job. It would have been a little interesting because we set it with this giant crane. Because cranes, like the Pettibone, that was a 25,000 pound capacity crane. And then it comes with a load chart. So the further out away from the crane is, the less you can lift. And
Right.
like new cranes are really easy to operate because they have scales and stuff in them and can keep
Do
essentially.
they put weights on the front of those like they do tractors?
Yeah, there's counterweights on the back. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
But
So
it's
you
all.
could,
I mean, the crane manufacturer calculates all that stuff, and that's
Right.
why you have your load chart. But on an older crane like that, you gotta have. I mean, that's why cranes. It's such a big deal. You can't just have any operator in them, and that's why there's a lot of crane accidents. 'Cause you gotta be smart with them, not to tip them over. So on a lift like that, you gotta know how much the thing you're picking up weighs, and
Right.
you should really measure how far out it's gonna be for the duration of the pick. To do it safe. So I could have set those. What I would have had to do, I could have set it up right tight against the building. I could have set them all right on the thing, and then what I could have done was slide them.
Slide them, each one of them,
into
right?
place.
Right.
We set them, ended up doing it with a huge Grove off-road crane. That was big enough where it could pick them up and be way out far from the crane. Still, I mean, those things were 10,000 pounds. It's nothing for that crane.
Right.
So.
Wow. Impressive.
Yeah.
Did you already expect your channel and its videos to be so influential to people?
No, I didn't. I don't even know why I started putting them on there. Kind of, overlaps with the other question, but no. But the short answer is I'm glad so many people are interested in the projects I'm working on, and it's cool to be able to share this stuff because one, if people like watching it, that's cool, and two, I'm sure a lot of people are learning how to do a lot of these construction jobs from watching these videos. So I know even younger children are watching it.
Oh yeah, all ages.
Yeah, I mean, and that's pretty hard to do for media. I mean, how many television shows can you think of that appeal to such a wide age range? Because a lot of those shows that are specifically geared for really young audiences, even like those kid shows, like an adult doesn't want to watch that.
Right.
It's almost torture to have an adult watch a lot of those children's shows. But like this stuff, like 4-year-old will watch this stuff and is his dad and his grandfather they all watch it together, and I
Right.
think for the most part, a lot of people are entertained by it.
Who or what things inspire you?
Who or what things inspire me? I don't know. It's kind of hard to give a good answer to that. I mean, it almost sound corny, but you could look at like Henry Ford, for example. I mean, he did a lot of cool things and had a lot of cool quotes too. I mean, I like one of the things he would. I mean, I hope I'm quoting this accurately, but he said, whether you think you can do something or you think you can't do it, you're right. And that's, yeah, I just love that attitude to going up to a project. Like, if I'm doing something like this, can I build this? Yeah, I can build this, and I'm going to do it. And a lot of people, you ask them to do something right off the bat. If they start giving excuses or something, no, they can't. But if you think you can do something, do it.
That's good advice.
He said more cool stuff like that too. That guy really changed the country. Changed the American way of life. There's other. He's not the only person. There's a lot of people. Just any person that's doing something cool. That's any person that's doing something notable like that. He's not the only one. There's plenty of other people. People in the past, people in the current. It's kind of hard to start listing off a ton of names, but they're out there.
This trailer we're going.
All right, check this out. Look at that. Am I at the bottom? Alright, so you can see this new radio, it's a little too big for this hole, so we're going to have to make this hole bigger. Alright, that fits pretty nice now. I need to get a bigger tractor. So I have this junk car that I'm getting tired of looking at that's been here for a while, so I'm gonna get rid of it. But let's have some fun with it first.
So what are your future plans for your castle?
Well, I maybe do some more finishing on the inside, but for the most part, no, all right, here's a future plan. I mean, for the most part, I didn't want to be working on the building forever. The whole point of it was to be able to do stuff inside of it. So now, after doing this roof, that at least, because before that, this thing was leaking, and that having a building leak sucks.
Right.
Now that it's dry inside, I can, it's just the whole point is to work in here. So that's the plan, to just do work in here, not work on the building forever, just work in the building.
After watching the video on how you got started in excavating, when you bought your very first piece of large equipment, did you know that that was going to turn into a career?
I wanted it to, because I liked doing that type of work, and at that point I was working at the post office. I wanted to not do that anymore, so I just did a slow transition into it just to be safe about it and to make sure it made sense.
If you had to pick one type of work that's your favorite, what would it be?
I guess just any job that's going smoothly. I do like operating equipment more than working on them quite a bit. So a lot of stuff involving the track skid steers. Those are usually always fun to operate, those things. Or the mini excavators are nice. Or even on the tractor too. I like doing tractor and track loader stuff. That's fun. The skid steers are nice. They don't break much. They can do a million different jobs. They're just fun to operate. They're a little harder to film though, because they move all over the place. The excavator is easy to film because they kind of stay in one spot more. We'll film solo at least.
With the popularity of your channel, do you get recognized out in public?
Yeah.
And have your jobs increased as a result of that?
Oh yeah. Oh, I mean the calls are endless, but I mean there was a ton of calls before even ever doing the channel too, so it's there's no shortage of work.
So are you a local celebrity?
I don't go. I mean, a lot of times like I'm in the woods by myself, so it's like you don't even, but you do run. I mean, it's fun. Like you're out in public somewhere and someone says, "Oh, I watch you on YouTube," and it's usually always fun to talk to that person.
You ever had any significant injuries?
No.
Broke
a toe once. I mean, people always, when you're watching other people work, sometimes it can look scary. Watching someone else do something, and for example, the videos are that the whole time. I mean, I remember even working on this roof with those other guys. It's just watching other people be up there. I didn't like it. I mean, even when I was up there, like, oh, this feels fine. It's not slippery at all. It feels fine. But people are just such safety craziness. I mean, no, I can. To do this type of work, you gotta not be an injury-prone person.
Right.
You gotta, I mean, growing up riding three-wheelers and stuff like that, I feel like that's a really good. If you can survive three-wheelers, you can survive an excavator. So I mean, I still you gotta be in shape for doing this type of work too. I think I feel that really plays a big role. Sometimes when you see people that are out of shape, sometimes you gotta move. When I flip that crane over.
Yeah, I was going to mention that actually. I'm surprised you didn't get hurt. I mean, that's
what I said. That's where the three-wheeler thing comes into play. It's like this is, I've been in situations before where a vehicle's been crashing, and that was a lot of times people say don't jump out of something that's flipping over or crashing. Most of the time that is true. This is one of the cases where that was not true, and being able to quickly bail out of that situation was the way to handle that.
Yeah.
If you had rode that out, that would you would have been hurting. Because that thing's not meant to. There's no seatbelts in it, but things with no seatbelts shouldn't have seatbelts because it's not meant to. It doesn't have rollover protection.
Right.
I mean, I guess it kind of does with that big. I mean, you could have ridden that out. You would have been bumped up pretty good in that cab. You wouldn't have wanted to jump out at the wrong time. I mean, the thing with jumping is, if you're going to jump out of something that's flipping over, don't jump where the thing's about to be.
Right. Good point.
That's where a lot.
That's
where a lot of people make that mistake, and they just say don't jump. Like no, you can jump, just don't jump where a forklift's about to land.
Right. I need
Yeah,
to put
well, it
on.
won't move without it. So. Tight through here.
Oh, this thing will go anywhere.
Yeah. Yeah, usually, this thing's big, but it usually does fit. Yeah, let's try something.
All right.
Yeah, it's dangerous. Yeah.
Yeah. That's all. Good though. That was fun.
So as far as containers go, I mean, I've paid different amounts over the years, anywhere between 1,000 and 3,000. But that, so you were asking me about, you know, how the design came on this building. When I ordered my tower container, the container that showed up was a high cube, and I couldn't use a high cube because I had already poured the footing for the tower, and you know, since it's standing on end, it would have been a foot off the slab. So I called them up saying, you know, we needed a standard high. Usually high cubes are more money, but then we went back and forth a little bit. And then I got up on the roof of it, and the roof was all rotted out, and they were going to pick it up and swap it. And then finally I said, I'll give you $1,000 for this container and send me another one. And yeah, they agreed to that after a bit of convincing them. So that's why I paid $1,000 for that. And that container was beautiful. Just the roof had some holes through it, which wasn't a problem at all for what I was doing, because it ended up getting a concrete pour on top. So there's 8 inches of concrete on top of that container. But I wasn't even planning on doing that with the building. I put the bridge there first, and then the tower. But then I'm like, well, what if I had one more container there, and it gave me that one wall? So that actually really worked out good, because then it gave me that wall to work out of, and all that space up there, and it kind of tied the bridge and the tower together before there was the upstairs was built, because that was a few years. So it did work out well.
So you got the Adobe is the latest
editing?
one.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, so pretty much all my videos have been edited with GoPro Studio, but that program, it's got some issues. One, GoPro stopped supporting it years ago, and then it's hard to use. I mean, I probably have hundreds, if not thousands of hours spent using that software, so I kind of learned what to do and not to do to not make it crash and actually get videos produced with it, and it did work. I just did make the switch though to Adobe Premiere, which is what a lot of professionals seem to be using, and now I'm getting used to that and able to turn out videos and seeing better results now that I'm learning how to use the software. The subscription base, you got to pay for it monthly, which is a little annoying. I guess there's pros and cons to that. I mean, I guess one big pro to it, I mean, that's why the GoPro Studio kind of died out, because I built a new computer and I could not get this older software to run on a new computer. I mean, we tried quite a bit. It did have some success, but ultimately that's what made me make the change. And so the Premiere, I mean, one pro of the Premiere, I mean, there's probably a team of people right now working on this software because they're making that money. So, so that's one of the advantages. Now, I did ask too. A lot of people said to use DaVinci Resolve, and I downloaded that, and that seems to open stuff right up. I just got to learn how to use it. See, when I edit, I'm using the keyboard the whole time,
right?
Because if you're moving the mouse around, that's too slow. So what you do, like. And my videos obviously aren't about special effects, but it's about being able to make the cuts efficiently. So on the keyboard, I use I for cut in, O for cut out, insert for just a regular cut, it doesn't delete anything, and then space for stopping and starting. So in Premiere, with some help, I was able to bind all those keys, because that's how it was in GoPro Studio. So I can edit that way. With DaVinci Resolve, I was kind of having a hard time figuring that out, but I mean, another nice thing about Premiere too, I haven't seen it crash yet. GoPro Studio used to crash all the time. I used to what I'd have to do is edit in sections. Like once I start seeing my storyboard get close to, even 8 minutes was pushing it. So what you do is, which I kind of liked doing it this way, you'd get to about 8 minutes. I'd watch that 8-minute section of video through a few times, make sure it's good, and then I just export it and just do, part 1, 2, 3, 4. And that even sometimes, depending on the project, that would be like a day, or I'll just try to split it up into sections that make sense, like chapters, as you will, and then at the end you could go take all those exported clips and edit them, render them all together as a finished video. And that also helps break up the workload over days too, because I'll have videos where I'm working on them for weeks or months to get the footage, and at least having everything edited helps quite a bit. And GoPro Studio was fine at that, but you'd have to export everything as AVI files, like uncompressed, and at least in Premiere. And then to edit, you'd have to convert everything from MP4 to AVI before you could even edit it.
Right.
And that was that was just like a whole extra step that the Premiere, or I mean, I see DaVinci Resolve, they can just open the MP4 files right up
Mm-hmm.
and edit them fine. Now you gotta be working off a solid state hard drive, so it actually is fast enough to work. But I mean, that's the name. That's what you gotta do. You gotta be able to get these videos edited. I've had a lot of people reach out to me too, like, oh, you want help editing? And that would be nice to get rid of that workload, but edit it. I mean, having someone else edit it, the stuff would be hard for a few reasons, because it would really change the feel of the videos. And then too, even when I'm filming stuff, I kind of have an idea of how I'm gonna edit it. If someone else was doing that, they don't always. It would change the feel.
You'd
quite a
have to
bit.
go back and approve each thing, and yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying it couldn't be done. It probably wouldn't. I mean, people have different eyes for how things would be. So, I mean, because obviously when you record a video on something, way more footage gets recorded than used.
Mm-hmm.
And if you start, I guess the pacing of the video, I should say, that's important, that the video is paced properly, so it's actually watchable. Because I mean, I just did a job repairing this trailer. I put new axles and stuff on it, and you know, that could, I mean, there's 8 hours of footage recorded on that. You know, no one wants to watch 8 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So these just came off that trailer, and these equalizers were bad, because you can look how, I mean, look at that. I was about to break, but these springs are still good. So if I cut that right there, you guys like break? Come on, guys. I can put it. You know, that might unbolt right out here. Let's see. Yes, that spring pack could still be used. I changed absolutely everything on the trailer. I mean, I probably over fixed it, but it was kind of nice just having brand new everything on it. But if I ever had a problem in the future, I mean, this is technically a good speed. It needs bushings, but that's fine. Oh, I was just hammering that, wasn't I? New hard punch the nut. Okay, so keep strap. Oh yeah, 7/8. That was wearing down. You would need new hardware anyway. Okay, that's scrap metal. Keep. Gotta go to the scrap yard. Alright, gotta autograph more stuff. And solid. That's just junk. The cat roller was cool.
Safety glasses collection.
Yeah, that was easier than cutting that.
Yeah.
I think that battery pack seems to have more power than the corded one.
The DeWalt?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it feels strong. It's just.
Did you say those came off your trailer?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I just did brand new everything, like springs and every nut and bolt, new axles. It didn't really need new axles, but it got them. It had one spring that was broken, so that's why the trailer wasn't usable. And the brakes weren't working, plus the equalizers were blown out. So instead of just switching some stuff, which I definitely could have gotten away with, I just did brand new everything.
Nice.
But it's not done. I went to back it up with those surge brakes. You can't back it up at all. It's just the surge brakes come on so hard. I ordered it. I gotta order a few more things, but it's I gotta put an electric switch in the truck. You can wire it to your reverse lights, so it's like an electric actuator that hooks onto the brake line and it essentially blocks it off for when you go in reverse. That way the surge brakes aren't coming on. But what I'm gonna do is even better. I'm going to wire it to my trailer brake pin, which doesn't get used with the surge brakes, and then that goes into the cap to the brake controller. And then what I'll do, I'll tap into that wire, I'll install a three-way switch, and then that way I can either have it switched for the brake controller to be hooked up like normal for regular electric brakes, have it so it's off, or have it so it's sending power to it all the time. So that way when I go to use reverse, I can switch it to power all the time and turn off the brakes. And when I'm using the brakes like normal, I just have it in the off position, so it's not powering that solenoid. And when I'm towing a trailer with regular electric brakes, I'll switch it to the brake controller, and the brake controller will power the electric brakes.
Good plan.
Oh yeah, so that's kind of better, because I was going to hook it to the reverse lights, but then that still gives you two problems. The one problem, say if you are already in a position where the trailer brakes are kind of being pressed, even if you put it in reverse, it's still, the brakes are still on. So it doesn't really work in some situations. And the other problem with those surge brakes, if you're going down like a long mountain road, they are on the whole time continuously, and you're not pulsing them on and off like you're supposed to, and they'll just get smoking hot, burn them out.
You'd be changing out brake pads.
Yeah, you're glazing the brakes, you ruin them. So then the other thing, so then you can flip that switch before going down like a mountain road.
Turn it completely off.
And then, so they're not using the surge brakes, and then just, use the truck engine to slow you down like you're supposed to. And you could just switch it right back on if you wanted to turn the trailer brakes back on, but at least it doesn't ruin the brakes. So that's the plan. It's gotta come back. I gotta order a few things, and it's gotta come back in here. I mean, I kind of want to revisit the 955 project. I just did that muffler and some things to that, but the muffler wasn't quite right.
Yeah, you wanted it quieter, right?
Well, I think it got a manifold leak or something. I should really look at that.
Yeah, that was like just a few videos ago.
Yeah,
Like
that was just in
Yeah.
here. I just did that. I mean, I did some other stuff to it that it needed, like the starter got fixed. I changed the oil. I did the roller that was seized up. Changed that.
Yeah, there's the old roller right there.
there's the roller. Dude, I mean, let's see what this does.
Oh yeah, that's the markers they
Yeah,
use
these are
at
pretty nice
the
sometimes.
junkyard.
Yeah. Yeah, be careful not to push in on it, because then it does. This one's a little messed up.
That's all good.
Yeah, that's pretty nice.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah.
Right here, let's go see if I can get my name.
Beautiful,
There
beautiful.
you go. That is actually, you know, that lawnmower, I actually had that a really long time, that lawnmower. My dad got that out of the trash for free and brought it home, and I did
Fixed
a
it.
ton of work to it. And because I was fixing and selling lawnmowers for a long time, but I always kept that one because that one was really good at doing leaves. It was good at doing leaves because it really blew out the side really hard. And reverse was fast. It's like, you know, as fast as forward. You know, not like you're crawling. So what you would do is like you'd start next to a house, blowing away from the house, go forward
To get 'em
blow
back.
everything that, and then just put it in reverse. Go in reverse. You just keep blowing everything.
Till you get it to the side.
One way. Blow them all into the. So it's chopping them up and blowing them at the same time and mowing the grass.
Oh, that's cool.
So with that, that's why I always kept that lawnmower. But
Yeah.
it had been sitting in the shed for years. I hadn't touched it, and then I got a much nicer of the same thing. And it was, I mean, it's just taking up space. So I was like, well, that's a pretty cool. I mean, you know, it's like a $200 lawnmower running, so it's like, it's not even worth.
See, we can weld something. That turned out nice.
How cool is that?
Cool. It's weird when you're like spelling something out slow like that, like it's easy to misspell.
Right.
And like you seem like an idiot. But like, even laying out stencils too, like you think, you want to try welding it?
Yeah, I'll try it,
Here,
sure.
I'll something on that.
Okay. I get it
It
now.
sounded good.
That was a little high, but that's okay.
Brad, nice.
Very cool.
Yeah, takes a little practice. Sometimes it helps to like write it first and then.
That is so much easier than stick
Oh
welding.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, I
Yeah,
would
that's the way
actually
to go.
purchase that.
You should get go buy, because your son wanted to do it too,
Yeah.
right? You should go buy a brand new 211.
Miller?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a 251, so they don't sell that model anymore. But the new comparable version of that one is the 252. But the reason I'm suggesting the 211 is because one, I got one outside. It's really small. You can carry it, and it's dual voltage, so you can plug it into the 220. Which that's ultimately what you want is to use this plug. You'll get much better results, but you can still plug it into a regular household outlet and still use it. Yeah, it doesn't have the same power. You can't weld the stick, but you can use it.
And then what about gas?
Yeah, that's your local welding shop will hook you up with that. But you don't have to use gas. You can use the shielded wire.
Okay.
and no gas. If you're running on 110, you're almost better not using the gas and using the shielded wire because you get better penetration. But once you run on a 220, then the machine's performing a lot better. So, I mean, if you're doing like big structural steel, you're better off moving to a machine like this. But for
This is what you did for the roof, right?
yeah,
This one?
yeah, but we did a lot with the 211 as well. I mean, I'll show you the 211. I should bring it in here. I mean, they're a little expensive, but it's not. You don't want to go to Harbor Freight and buy the cheapest.
Right.
What? Oh, where's Cody? Oh, there he is. Look how good you guys are being. Your new toy, yeah. Being the good dogs. Yeah, I mean, you could go to Harbor Freight and get. I mean, MIG welders start at like $100. What are you getting for $100? You know, it's probably a piece of crap. This, I think, this is like 1,600 or so.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, you can buy one that's a smaller machine that's that size, but it doesn't. I mean, this is at least can do stuff.
Right.
That's a nice machine. That's why I'm saying get the 211 because as a hobbyist, because I mean, yeah, it's a little pricey, but at least you have a machine that actually
It
works.
can do what, yeah.
It's small. It's not married to this cart. You could just carry this around.
Right.
And you know, you can use it without gas, and you can plug it in anywhere. You're not just stuck like the 251 is only you can only plug it in the 220.
Would you order this online?
Yeah, you can get that
Yeah.
one. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, that's a brand new welder. They still sell this. I mean, obviously they sell welders. That 251's an old model, but.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, there's the trailer. See how it's all brand new axles.
This isn't the one you built, though, right?
No, this is the one I did that video on. It was titled Refurbishing.
Yeah,
and I put a new deck on it, and the frame was broken. I fixed the frame.
Yeah, it had
So
to
now
have
it's-
a wood deck before.
Yeah,
right?
now it's got brand new springs and axles and brakes.
Nice. Brand new trailer.
Pretty much. Now, if you're doing all that work, it's cheaper to buy a new trailer, honestly. But still, this is a nice trailer, though. I mean, I was just looking at the trailer place. A new trailer like that's about like $6,000. So, you know, yeah, even this is brand new.
Oh, yeah.
And that was bad. And I mean, it wasn't all bad. Like it needed, like the master cylinder was bad, and there's a few random little parts in it. But then I was like, it's cheaper to just not cheaper, but I just bought that whole assembly, and everything's brand new. And then I have the old one for parts if you needed it. But see, I got to install because right now you go to back this up, you can't. So I got to install a valve on here, a one that you shut off. So I got to hook it up to the electrical and. Like I was explaining.
Man.
Yeah, the pintle hitch is the way to go. I did it with the ball for a while. It's pintle so much better.
6 ton.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
The mighty truck.
I just drove far, moved an excavator for one of my friends. Tripling while he bought a brand new, or not, no, he bought a brand new 1989 excavator. Guy was all excited about it, so. It looks just like this. It was a John Deere 30, but really it's a Yanmar. It was almost bigger than that one, though. I mean, this is a 37. So. It was pretty much that. It was like that machine. Kind of.
Yeah, you've kind of become a Yanmar fan, haven't you?
Well, it's been great machines for me. I got the two of them, so.
You know what else they make? They make boat motors.
Yeah.
You seen that?
Yeah, people love those boat motors. I mean, you know what I really want to like extend this building, close it in, some nice pallet racks, right there, and then you could like forklift stuff like that, like a snowmobile, like it's low, it could be on a pallet, it could be up, you don't need like in the summertime, you don't need it. So
Like the way they've got the rack set up at Lowe's, yeah.
Imagine having the Lowe's building. That would be
yeah.
cool.
Perfect.
That would be, imagine having a building like that. Like that'd be
All you need is a forklift.
endlessly space. I mean, if I had like the Lowe's building, like everything I have would be inside with room to spare. That's maybe one thing I should do is.
You gotta buy. You gotta build a Lowe's. That's the next
I mean,
thing.
just build like an enormous something, like all that stuff, everything will be inside.
Yeah, now this is impressive. This is like,
Yeah, I feel good about that now.
I was glued to the
I was worried
TV.
about that rock for a little bit. And some people said, "Oh, why don't you move the rock?" And see, it was different. It wasn't like that when I first put the building here.
Uh-huh.
And then the tower wasn't there. I didn't. But the tower was an afterthought. Because if the tower wasn't there, you know, even if the rock's still, it's not going to wipe out the building. But now, once the tower was there, and the bridge was attached to the rock, I was like, this rock cannot move now.
No,
So,
no, that ain't going
but all
nowhere.
the engineering I did said that it's more than fine. And the rock looks bad from here, but before I poured that footing on there, it went way back
Uh-huh.
into the cliff, a lot further. So,
So as you moved material, that's when it kind of became like it
well,
could be an
then you
issue.
kind of, you could see, I mean, stuff's still, you know,
Uh-huh.
see the layer it's on is nothing. So, you know, if you dug all that out of there and kept prying it, it could probably go. But now with these on against it, I don't think it could now. So.
No,
I mean, all the math I did said these were capable of holding multiple times what that weighs.
yeah, that's impressive. I mean, that's like,
Yeah.
that was one of the ones, that was
Yeah.
one of the videos that I was glued to the TV watching, is
These
this.
are down into bedrock. I pinned them into the thing.
Uh-huh.
That's that 5,000 psi concrete. Plus, it's against, because it would have to go this way. And
Right.
It's against this, which this is the whole building, which weighs a lot. So, plus it's pinned to bedrock, and big pins. It's those 1-inch rebar.
So cool.
Yeah, you can see the chainsaw marks on the.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Good, Levi. You liking those leaves?
You like the leaves, Levi? Yeah?
I burnt these out of here a few times, but it messed up my paint, so
Uh-huh. Yeah, that's awesome. How cool is that?
There's Levi's signature. It's easier than dipping his foot in paint.
Yeah, yeah.
It's still, here, Levi. Let me see your foot. Pop.
Yep. That's awesome.
It's Levi's signature. Let me get right with this right, Levi.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, there you go.
Thanks, man.
Okay. All right. Good luck. All right. Good. So yeah, there's some neat colors. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some neat color rocks here. There's even fossils if you probably look hard enough. But see, like.
Oh, that's
I don't
cool.
know. I mean, it breaks up easy, but it's a really nice blue color to it. And then there's like greens and blues.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, the dogs love it.
Yeah. Yeah, this spot's. I want to dress this up a little nicer now.
Turn it to a koi pond.
Just make the edges look a little better. I mean, I love what I was doing with the rocks there.
Uh-huh.
But there's like still like this pile, like that looks bad. This pile will go. That's all sifted soil right there. And then they like do the whole bank like that. I gotta spend some time in this spot. Cody likes the way it is.
What do you think, Cody? Labs in the water. Where do you see your channel going in the future?
Where I see my channel going, I just want to keep doing exactly what I am doing. Just hopefully, for the most part, improving things, but really keeping it the same. This guy right there. Who's the yellow lab? You know what we gotta do? We gotta find him a girlfriend. Make some more labs.
Oh, I can eat.
Right?
Get some puppies.
Bunch of puppies. Ah, Cody, we gotta find you a girlfriend, buddy. Make like a whole bunch of labs. Alright, well, this job's all done. So on to the next one. I'm off to the next job. Alright, on to the next job. Alright, so I'm all done here. On to the next job. Alright, so on to the next job. Alright, on to the next job. Alright, that looks good. So on to the next job. Alright, on to the next job. Alright, on to the next job. Alright, well, let's, so this is all finished up. On to the next job.